Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Nerdtooine in a Movie Podcast. This is your host, Nerdpool Prime. Thank you for joining me today. So today we're going to start off with some news. We got a lot of news. This was a very busy week. Boom Studios announced a new 5-issue original series called Eve. When the ice caps melted, most of the humanity was lost to the hidden disease that was released. Now a mysterious girl named Eve has awoken in a secret and must deal with a world that's nothing like the virtual reality she was raised in. In order to save her father, Eve must embark on a deadly quest across the country, but she has no idea of the threats that await her or the price she will pay to restore life to a dying planet. The all-new original series will see author Victor Levaye, wow, that was horrible, and artist Joe Mi Jeong. Victor is an award-winning author. The Ballad of Black Tom was a finalist for the Nebula Award, the Hugo Award, the Bram Stoker Award, and the Theodore Sturgeon Award. He has won the American Book Award, the Shirley Jackson Award, the Guggenheim Fellowship, and the Key to the Southeast Queens. He has worked with Boom before on the acclaimed series The Destroyer. He also teaches at Columbia University when he is not making all this great content. Joe is a rising star, the talented artist based out of Seoul, Korea. Best known for her work on Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance and the original comic book series Beastlands. The main cover artist is Ario Anindito, most recently known for the Star Wars High Republic covers, which are all stunning. Also, shameless plug, I started doing comic reviews on my page. Right now, you can check out my reviews for the High Republic #1, Future State Nightwing #1, with more to come. Check it out on the IG, Nerdpool Reborn. The variant covers will be done by Yuko Shimizu and Inyuk Lee. Senior editor of Boom Studios said this about Eve. Victor is a visionary writer who brings a sense of realism and heart to the sci-fi and horror stories he crafts. He and Joe have created a beautiful, haunting world for Eve that is no less prophetic for being fictional in a series that addresses one of the most pressing concerns of humanity today. Eve #1 will be available in print in May 2021, exclusively at local stores or online at the Boom Studio website. You can get the digital everywhere through Comixology, iBooks, Google Play, Madefire. This series looks really cool. The artwork looks amazing. There's this bear that is just like with her on the covers, and it's this mysterious bear, and the thing's got me so intrigued. I definitely am looking forward to this issue, this series from Boom Studios. Guys, independent comics are just as good as the quote unquote big names like Marvel and DC, and comic books are really the most malleable type of medium. They can really tell so many stories, and they don't always have to be the cape and tights superheroes. This is a great example of that, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So check that out, Eve from Boom Studios. Then we got some Dragon Ball Super Manga info here. There is a slight spoiler in here for anyone who is not reading it. You might want to back out now and maybe come back in about 5 minutes, and we'll be getting into more stuff. But in Dragon Ball Super Chapter 69, they finally are having Vegeta go into the Destroyer, the God of Destruction training. And Beerus, in one of the scenes, Beerus says, "As long as doubt weighs down your soul, the power will never be yours to wield. Your own crimes aside, your feeling of guilt for the sins of all Saiyans, that's awfully self-centered of your mortal." We find out that Beerus was the person who actually suggested to Frieza that he eradicate the Saiyans. This obviously was done for effect, because Vegeta obviously flipped out and went full power on Beerus, only to get his ass beat, demonstrating his true power by destroying Vegeta's body armor without even seriously harming Vegeta himself. Beerus said, "As long as you're trapped in by the past, you'll never manage to grow past this point. My mind's always on destruction, nothing else. That's why there's no limit to my power. Listen, if you really want this power, you're gonna have to destroy any stray thoughts and recreate yourself from scratch. Before creation comes destruction. Get it? I will admit, I just recently, in the past couple months, caught up on the Dragon Ball Super show. I'm not up on the manga, but when I saw this report, it definitely caught my eye, and I definitely thought I wanted to tell you guys about this because it's really cool. If you read comics, you can definitely read mangas. It's pretty much the same thing, just from a different part of the planet. So if you like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and you watch the show, try check out the manga sometime. It's they're pretty good from what I've read. I haven't read them all, but I've seen quite a few of them. So moving on, starting February 25th, which was a few days ago, you can pre-order the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch scale Wrecker figure and the Star Wars The Black Series First Order Stormtrooper electronic helmet. The Wrecker figure is going to be $29.99 and can be ordered on Amazon and Entertainment Earth. Boisterous Bruiser of Clone Force 99, soon to be returning in the Bad Batch series on Disney+. That figure comes with a helmet, pack, blaster, and knife, accessories. The Hunter, Crosshair, and the Elite Squad Troopers are already out, and the Bad Batch is going to be completed with Tech and Echo coming up soon. And again, I don't get paid for any of this. I just saw this news. I thought you guys might like to know that. The electric helmet is going to be $99.99. It can be ordered also on Amazon and Entertainment Earth. Features an adjustable fit, electronic voice distortion, just like the Troopers of the First Order. Speaking of Star Wars news, Disney has confirmed that the first season of Star Wars, the Clone Wars spinoff, Star Wars The Bad Batch, will be debuting on Disney Plus on May the 4th. Agnes Chu, Senior Vice President of Content at Disney Plus, said this about The Bad Batch. While the Clone Wars may have come to its conclusion, our partnership with the groundbreaking storytellers and artists at Lucasfilm Animations is only beginning. We are thrilled to bring Dave Filoni's vision to life through the next adventures of The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is executive produced by none other than Dave Filoni and his talented team. Co-executive producers Athena Portillo, Brad Rao, Jennifer Corbett, and Carrie Beck. Jason Rhimes is also credited as a producer. Rao will be supervising director, and Corbett will be the head writer. While this Bad Batch of Clone Troopers has been kind of a thing for a while now, initially planned to appear before the Clone Wars series was initially ended, they finally made their official debut in the amazing final season of the Clone Wars that featured a Bad Batch arc, which was great introduction to these characters, and of course some of the best Star Wars content ever released in the Siege of Mandalore arc. They were not in the Siege of Mandalore arc, but definitely was a great story no matter what. Again, don't forget to celebrate May the 4th by checking out The Bad Batch as it premieres on Disney Plus on May the 4th. Be with you. Moving on, Loki official release date news. We finally have an official release date for the upcoming Loki series on Disney Plus. This series starring the incredible Tom Hiddleston once again as Loki, with Kate Herron directing and Michael Waldron as the head writer. Loki will debut on June 11th, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus. Moving on to more news, season 2 of the Animaniacs has been confirmed to be releasing later this year, and Hulu has announced that the series has also been renewed for a third 10-episode season. All the original voice actors came back from the show thanks to Steven Spielberg's push. I've heard great things, and it is definitely on my watch list. I'm going to binge watch the first season before they start the second season, so look out for that. Finally, we have a confirmed title and release date for Spider-Man 3. This is funny. So initially, Tom Holland posted a shot from the movie and a title card that said Spider-Man Phone Home. And then shortly after that, co-star Ned, or the guy in the chair, played by Jacob Batalon, posted another image and a title card that said Spider-Man Homewrecker. And I initially jumped on both those two separate images I made on Instagram. And then I even tagged Zendaya, and one of them was like, all right, so where's yours? Moments later, obviously not in response to me directly, obviously, but she posted yet another image and a title card that said Spider-Man Home Slice. And then later, even Jimmy Kimmel got in on it, posting one that says Spider-Man, That's So Craven. I swear the internet almost broke. Luckily, not long after that, a clip dropped of Tom Holland walking out director John Watts' office, saying no, he just gave us another fake name. He asked why he continues to do this, and both Zendaya and Jacob point out the obvious fact that he is spoiler prone, and he even spoiled the last movie title. They walk past a dry erase board that is made to look like an idea board with tons of possible names like Home Run, Work From Home, and even Home World, which many thought that might actually be the name. At the center, the title Spider-Man No Way Home. There was almost a WandaVision glitch showing the true card. Spider-Man No Way Home, only in theaters this Christmas. I'm going to be honest. I think I would risk getting COVID. I mean, like, there has not been any movie that I've been like, yeah, I don't give a crap. I'm definitely gonna go see that in theaters. This, I honestly, I mean, I'll wear 2 masks, and be socially distant, and not do anything stupid. But I think I'm gonna have to see this. I mean, I know that right now going to the movies is probably not something that anyone really needs to do, but I don't know, man. This movie for me, and especially the way they're leading up into it, because WandaVision's been so good, and then Loki, I think, is going to be so good, and those two are going to play directly into Spider-Man 3, and then by extension also the Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange 2. So for me, this is a must see, and I feel like I have to. I think I'm going to go to the theater and see it. I don't know. I wouldn't go see Black Widow in theaters. I not right now. I mean, if everything was fine, of course I'd have been there opening night, at the midnight showing, and probably taking the day off after just to make sure I didn't have to worry about going to work. But for me, this one is worth it. And it's weird. I talked about how I felt that Disney was going to have to release these movies eventually on Disney Plus, and I just think about it. There are probably some of these HBO movies that I would go see, these Warner Brothers movies that I would go see in theaters, if they weren't also being streamed for free on the HBO Max subscription, which I already have. So you can see the two different business models. Warner Brothers is going with if you subscribe, you can have the movies. We'll put them on theaters too. If anyone wants to go see them, great, that's awesome. But just subscribe, and hopefully they just keep subscribing. They don't cancel, and they just keep getting that money in. And then Disney's going the alternate route. When they do release these movies, besides some of them, like they did release Onward, that really good movie, like the Dungeons and Dragons style movie with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. But with Mulan, you had to pay for it up first, and then it did come to Disney Plus for all the subscribers. And then there's another one that's coming out soon. I can't recall the name of it right off the top of my head, to be honest, but it's an animated movie, and it's going to be really good from what the reviews have been saying. So which way is better? Like, for instance, if I had the option to watch Spider-Man No Way Home from home, I'm taking it. No questions asked. Like, I'm not going to the theaters. If I have the option to do it from home and stay safer, absolutely. In the comfort of my home, for me, it's even better. Like, I'll be honest, with COVID, many people have been struggling with staying inside and not, being able to, just be by themselves and be okay with that. Me, I've been training for this my whole life. Like, I did a lot last year, including starting this podcast. So, it all just depends on how everything that happens in your life, you always just have the ability to decide what to do with it. You can let it destroy you. You can let it drive you. You can let it do a lot of things. So just always keep that in mind. Any situation you're in, think of all aspects and how it could affect you and everyone around you, and go from there. So that's going to be it for the news. We will take a quick break, and then we'll come back and I will break down the most recent episode of WandaVision. Welcome back. So first and foremost, I want to talk about some news that we got regarding an Easter egg that's now confirmed. The WandaVision makeup artist Trisha Sawyer and hairstylist Karen Bartek confirmed that the imposter Pietro hairstyle was in fact an Easter egg for Wolverine. According to Bartek, the X-Men reference was purposely done to make it seem the two franchise universes were colliding. It was something that Matt really wanted. They kind of planned that. Bartek told IndieWire in reference to WandaVision director Matt Shakman and his X-Men schemes. In the same article on comicbook.com, stated that the popular theory is that we'll be getting a reverse House of M scenario in WandaVision, which is something that I have said many times on the podcast. And I said on the podcast when that episode came out that I didn't think that hairstyle was at all reference to anything Quicksilver. It definitely gave off a Wolverine vibe to me, so look at that, I was right again. Then, the episode starts, and we'll get into now. This is big spoiler territory here, people. So if you haven't seen the newest episode of WandaVision, the one that came out on Friday, let me check the date to make sure I tell y'all the right thing. Came out Friday the 26th. If you have not seen the episode on Friday the 26th from WandaVision, please I have no problem. It's okay. I don't judge. You can go ahead and leave and then come back and listen to this after the fact, and it'll break down everything that we saw. So now that you're still here, I'm going to continue. And we open up the new episode, and I did like how they showed the Marvel logo and it turned purple because obviously it was Agatha all along. We get to see a little backstory about Agatha and how her coven, including her mother, turned on her because she was messing with powers beyond her year and experience, and she obviously was able to defeat all of them, and it looked like she may not have known that she was going to be able to do it, but once it happened, she definitely felt it and was able to absorb all their energy, and maybe that's why she's still young, because she has the life of 8 witches in her at the same time. So, she's questioning Wanda how she did it because she's a very powerful witch, and she can't imagine how anyone could do all this because she literally said, I felt the afterglow of effects of so many spells cast at once, and she couldn't make heads or tails of it. And even though Wanda asks, who are you? She hits her back with, who are you? Like, she's so powerful, and Agatha's just trying to wrap her head around it. So they actually go and do a deep dive into Wanda's psyche and into her memories and see what makes her tick. The very first flashback brings them back to when they were kids in Sokovia watching TV sitcoms with their parents. I really wish I had the ability to do slow-mo because when the bomb went off, I feel like I saw a blur. If that is the case, then that means that even her brother had his mutant powers in him, and they were activated during a moment of extreme stress, like the X gene is in the comics, and even in the other X universe. So for me, I feel like they are definitely hinting that she is a mutant, and then that she just, it activated, and then the Infinity Stone just accentuated her already latent abilities. Now, Wanda's backstory has been changed and retconned so many times. I mean, at one time she was the daughter of Magneto, then she wasn't. There was even a time where she was the daughter of both of the twins were the daughter of Logan, Wolverine, and a couple years back she was retconned to not be a mutant, but to be just a sorceress. And now I'm pretty sure she's been retconned back to being a mutant again. So just because of that, it doesn't necessarily mean that she is a mutant there. I think it's a good chance that she is, but notice how we didn't actually see her cast this probability spell. Yes, it seems very plausible, but we're just supposed to accept that Agatha is telling the truth there, and that's what actually happened. She pulled her out of the memory before that could actually happen. So while it's plausible, it may not necessarily be 100% accurate. Then we jump to the second flashback, which is her time with Hydra. Remember, the Infinity Stone have been deemed to be sentient in the MCU. Wanda must have used some kind of reality warping powers even then, because she had the interaction with the Mind Stone, which seemed to be attracted to her, as in drawn to her. Don't be gross. Even though it does end up becoming Vision, who is attracted to her. Whatever. But when the Hydra agents are looking and the scientists are looking at the video, it doesn't show it. It just shows her taking a few steps and then collapsing. I don't know how that even works. How did that happen? So she already had the reality warping ability then, and then just the Infinity Stone just made her that much stronger. I really did like in her vision that the Mind Stone gave her, she got to see her true self through the Infinity Stone. So, either she's gonna be just this like magic being of legend or a mutant. Also, like, we're assuming, like I said, that she stopped the bomb with the probability hex. But also, do you notice how they changed some things from the story that Pietro told in Age of Ultron? Where's that big hole? He said that a hole opens up in the ground, and it's big. Our parents fall through. So that wasn't there. I didn't see a hole anywhere in that entire scene. So that's a little awkward. They thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. And I love Agatha. Everything's starting to come together. I have a theory, but I need more. I think that was almost like a shout out to all of us super nerds who can't help ourselves coming up with all these theories. But it also could have been like a subtle shot at us. Like, hey, no matter what you guys are thinking, you're wrong. And you're going to need more to actually make a good theory. The third flashback was Wanda and Vision at the Avengers compound. The first home the two shared. It's sometime between the events of Age of Ultron and the events of Captain America Civil War. I think from the very beginning, they would have been drawn to each other. When he was born, she was the first thing that he saw. And now the information we have from the previous flashback, the Mind Stone definitely has some type of connection with Wanda. The Malcolm in the Middle show is also very key to understanding why that moment was very important. Not only because it's a touching moment between her and Vision, but when Vision asks, it is funny because of the grievous injury the man just suffered after an outside roof collapse on Bryan Cranston's character. Wanda responds, no, he's not really injured. And Vision goes, and then pauses. How can you be certain? Well, it's not that kind of show, Wanda says. And then this is the key right there. This is why she chose sitcoms. Horrible things can be just revealed to have been just mere dreams. Pain and suffering are always temporary. And, that's why when she made the hex, it was sitcoms. Because to her, those are her moments of joy that she remembers with her family, as well as a protected space where bad things don't really happen for long, and they're always rectified, and you can't really get too hurt. Vision's line about grief, that just hit me straight in the feels. I mean, I feel like they were like trying to make people cry with that one. But what is grief if not love persevering? Really? That was really mean. I was very in my feelings right there. Then we move on to the fourth flashback, which was that leaked storyboard that I talked about last week. It looks like they did cut out a part when in the storyboard, she goes off on this rant about how Tony Stark wasn't the only Avenger, and that how even Black Widow got a memorial, but Vision doesn't get one because he's a synthezoid. And then she goes and speaks to Hayward. And obviously, we found out now, it's confirmed, that the fact that we all believed, that he's been lying since the very beginning. She did not storm the vase, and she did not take Vision's body. And, how does Hayward know she could bring him back online? I really don't know. Like, that seemed to be knowledge she didn't think of until the drone. So, I don't know what's going on there. I theorize that maybe he's the High Evolutionary, and the High Evolutionary is someone that's gonna be introduced for sure in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because he's the creator of Rocket, as well as ties to Mephisto and the Darkhold and Kython, and the list just goes on. So that character definitely be someone that's important. So maybe that's what's going on there. I honestly don't know at this point. And that's one thing I do have to admit that I love about WandaVision. For the most things, I can usually, with the trailers or a few scenes, I can pretty much predict everything that's going to happen. I mean, that horrible Power Rangers movie, I literally saw the 30-second sneak peek trailer, and I came up with the super surprise ending or twist that Rita Repulsa was once a Green Ranger and she killed all the other Rangers. 30 seconds, boom. I don't need to see this movie. I know what's going to happen. So, WandaVision, I haven't been able to do that for the most part. It's been pretty cool. But, as this episode was really dark and it was deep on a very painful level emotionally, especially for the character Wanda. It's easy to see why she snapped. Even when she went to the place that Vision apparently had purchased for them to grow old in, it was empty. The house was not there. Now, I don't know if she always had that letter, but so this must mean that he was planning this when they were off on their, side hangouts during Infinity War. So, or maybe it was placed there by somebody who I honestly can't tell you for sure. But her powers are just astounding. What she was able to do. When you got to see Wanda with her true power, just creating reality around her. So, we get to see that obviously she created this vision that's in the Hex. I think she actually recreated the Mind Stone. Wanda's vision, in my opinion, is now a living Infinity Stone. If you look in the TV's reflection behind her as the vision is forming finally, all the yellow lines that were forming his body literally ended on his head where the stone was. Now, we didn't know what the stone was in his head since his return, and the Infinity Stones were reduced to atoms, like Thanos said. I think Wanda brought one back right there. And I think this is why Vision can unlock people, because he could circumvent the spells due to him literally being the Infinity Mind Stone. And more about that in a little bit when we get to the mid-credit scene. I think when it's all said and done, Wanda she really didn't remember. I think when she stepped into the black and white, I think she, for her own peace of mind, hid those memories away from herself so she can enjoy it and not be burdened by the past. And then when Wanda, comes to after that final memory, and she's seeing the set, I bet you that's the actual set that they shot that stuff on, because the sitcom stuff was actually filmed in front of a live studio audience. I wish I could have been one of those people. Hey, Disney, I know you're listening, because you own everything. If you're listening, I can totally be one of those people and keep my damn mouth shut, I swear. Please, call me. All right. Also, when Agatha disappeared and Wanda had to run out of the set, the framing of the scene was really weird. It seemed to focus on that red light on the counter to her left as she ran outside. Maybe she also remade another Infinity Stone, and that's the Reality Stone. That would explain how she could control everything. If it's not that, she's just that damn powerful, I mean, I'm not saying that's the Infinity Stone, but it definitely was framed to have us focus on that for some reason. And I think that may be the reason. So it seems like the MCU is going with Scarlet Witch as a legendary figure in the lore of witches. The way Agatha spoke of her as being a myth, a creature capable of spontaneous creation, as she's holding the kids hostage in her sick full witch attire. And then the moment we've all been waiting for. This is chaos magic, Wanda. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch. Again, here we go. She said the thing. She said the thing. And, WandaVision has definitely been one of the most memeable shows of all time. Every episode, there's at least 4 or 5 things that can be turned into memes, and it's been glorious. It makes sense because it's definitely, the whole thing is a basic comment on our social existence in in the realm of entertainment, so that makes sense. Great. Okay, so now let's talk about the mid-credit scene. The Awakening of Spectral Vision. And it's crazy because I actually picked up the first appearance of Spectral Vision, the West Coast Avengers number 45, prior to the start of the series, because I had a feeling that he was going to show up in the series, and I was also right about that, which is cool. I got it for like $5, and now if you go on Amazon, eBay and everything, like now, they'll be like $50, $60. It's pretty cool. Okay, so in the comics, when Spectral Vision shows up, he was a fully functioning robot, void of any emotion. Like, he didn't even react when Wanda hugged him in the comics. Like, he was like just had his arms to the side. So this Spectral Vision, I think, will be more like an Ultron type. His forehead definitely has what looked like a mini Stark arc reactor. So one common theory that I've been seeing around is that this may be Ultron reborn. Well, I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, I think they would have to focus too much on Ultron as a main villain moving forward, which that wouldn't make any sense with Spider-Man No Way Home, Loki, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I just don't see that happening. Now, it would be kind of cool if like the Vision that shows up has James Spader's voice. That'd be kind of cool. So it's not really Vision, but it's not also Ultron either. So I guess we're going to get in the next episode, Vision versus Vision fight. They better cue up that Foreigner song when it starts, and Michael Roman of Everything Always called it. And thanks, man. Seriously, I've had that song stuck in my head since I watched your video. So, if Wanda recreated the Mind Stone, how come he couldn't survive outside the Hex? Well, first, Wanda didn't even remember doing this, so she may have subconsciously only designed the body to work for where she was, because she, was trying to make this perfect world and couldn't imagine Vision trying to leave. So she may not have even imbued it with that power to leave. Or could it be a safety procedure to make sure he couldn't leave without her permission, at least? And I heard another theory that what will happen is the two of those will merge and Vision will get a true rebirth, and he will once again be whole. We would see like the color slowly flowing back into the Vision, which went from black and white to color in the earlier episodes. When it transitioned and it slowly worked at, like, gaining color back. Maybe that was a foreshadowing to him getting his body back, basically. And I think we now can agree that the commercials were all some specific like moments in her life. Honestly, and I'm so happy with the show up to this point. There has not been a single negative moment. The acting has been fantastic, starting, of course, with Elizabeth Olsen. Now, I've started the hashtag Emmy Award nominee Elizabeth Olsen. At this point, I would say she should win it. But because there is a bias with Marvel content, she probably won't win. But she has been nothing short of spectacular and deserves all the awards. And then you got Paul Bettany and Catherine Hahn both doing an amazing job with such range in their scene work. And then Teyana Paris as Monica has been great. And I'm looking forward to Spectrum or Photon, whatever you want to call her, whatever she ends up going with, being able to go all badass on some bad guys. And then you got the supporting cast, of course. And then you got Jet Klein as Tommy and Julian Hilliard as Billy. They've been such a joy to watch. These two kids are super talented. And I hope this is a jumping off point for them, if that's what they want to do, to continue to act. And I hope this is a springboard for them to jump to even greater heights. I mean, think about how good this cast is. They have Randall Parks, Kat Dennings, and frickin' Kitty Foreman, Deborah Jo Rupp as supporting cast members. I mean, I'm not going to make any predictions about this final episode. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'm going to not look for any spoilers or leaks. I mean, I've admitted in the past, I'm a snooper. Like Pietro said, snooper's going to snoop. So when I post anything or say anything about we should all agree to have a spoiler ban, it's not for me. I actively go look for them. You can't spoil me. I literally will spoil my damn self. So I'm not sure. I'm really thinking about not even looking, so I can have the whole experience as first time. I kind of want to recreate that last episode of The Mandalorian when that we got that Luke scene. Speaking of surprise cameos, it's funny. Paul Bettany has been talking about there's going to be a surprise cameo, and he's always wanted to work with this person, and he's never got a chance to. Was he talking about himself? Cheeky little bastard. Definitely if that is the case, that'd be a very funny little thing. Like they keep you got a theory? You need a little bit more because you're wrong. But again, WandaVision has been amazing, and I'm looking forward to the season finale next week. So that's going to be it for the WandaVision content. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and actually talk about Community this week. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So here we are. We're actually going to earn our end of movie part of our title. Today we're going to talk about an episode in season 4, The Gas Leak Year, which I know, Gas Leak Year. Everyone hates it, but honestly, I don't see it as such a bad season. It's the worst of all the seasons, but when Community is so as good as it was, I mean, being the worst of one of the greatest shows of all time is. Worst season of one of the greatest shows of all time, in my opinion, is not too bad. So today we're going to talk about cooperative escapism in familial relations. This is one of my favorite episodes in the entire series. It was in the worst season, of course, but this is when Jeff meets his father at Thanksgiving. They also had the like a prison Shawshank homage, which was great. But for me, the episode itself, it stood out so much was the Winger speech to his dad and that interaction. Also, it's a great moment for Britta because while Britta inked something up, she actually made it better, and it was because of Britta that Jeff was even able to do anything with his dad. It was influenced by her, even if he won't admit it. The episode proved just how honest it was. I had no problem with Jeff showing all of his flaws. It was actually great to see. His dad, William Winger, was played by the father of Thanos himself, James Brolin. Willie Jr., his half-brother, was played brilliantly by Workaholic's Adam Devine. I have loved him in everything I've seen, but I just couldn't get into Workaholics. Maybe I should just give that show a try again, because every episode I saw I just didn't think was very funny. But, I mean, any supporting role he's been in, or even when he was, like... a main character alongside like Zac Efron and that Zac and whatever need dates for the wedding. That was actually a pretty good movie. So, I guess I'll have to give Workaholics a shot one of these days. Jeff always, gives off this super macho, super confident, nothing can hurt him guy, but it's all a front. Jeff, and Jeff and his dad are a lot more alike than Jeff would probably care to admit. The only difference really is that he doesn't have any kids. I mean, if he would have had a kid young, probably would have left that kid. And, may have had another kid with another family. I could definitely see that happening with Jeff. If he would have had kids. Jeff's dad, seriously, he believed that because he wasn't there, that's why Jeff became who he was, and that is true. But he also tried to take credit for it, and that's just not something that people in that situation had the right to do. And I'm gonna actually read I'm actually gonna do the whole Jeff Winger speech. I didn't memorize it. I'm gonna read it because I'm not as amazing as Joel McHale. But I think it's important and to contextualize the whole thing by reading it, and then so everyone can hear it when I break it down. Jeff says, "I am not well adjusted. More often than not, I'm barely keeping it together. I'm constantly texting, and there's no one on the other end. I'm just a grown man who can't even look his own friends in the eye for too long because I'm afraid that they'll see that I'm broken. So you get credit for that too. One time, when I was in 7th grade, I told everyone at school that I had appendicitis. I wanted someone to worry about me. But when Beth Brandon asked to see the scar, I didn't want to get found out, so I took Mom's scissors and made one. It hurt like hell, but it was worth it because I got 17 cards, and I still keep them in a box underneath my bed 22 years later, because it proves that someone at some point cared about me. You want to see the scar? He picks up his shirt, revealing the scar, so you get credit for that too. This is me. And then, his dad tried to fake a heart attack, and he's been messing with Pierce for all this time, so he was definitely not going to fall for that. Jeff, in this moment of true clarity, was able to tell his father everything he needed to get off his soul. As someone who's always wanted to tell off my father, this was a moment of cathartic joy that, from the very first time I saw it to every time since. When Jeff makes the study room a Thanksgiving feast for the family they all decided to choose, was another great moment. You think back to Jeff at the beginning of the series, he would never have done anything like that. He would have done everything in his power to get out of doing it, to be a part of it at all. Nevertheless, setting it up himself. I'll always say, like earlier I said, that Season 4 is the worst of the series, but I can't agree that it's not worth watching like a lot of Community fans. Some Community fans, I won't say a lot. The worst season of Community still holds up against the majority of shows at their best. This episode in particular is a diamond in the rough, an episode that deserved notation amongst the key episodes of the show, even in the worst gas leak year. Side note, how the hell did Abed make that hole in the wall? It was so perfectly symmetrical. Like, how would he have done that without anyone knowing? I almost don't even want to know. Maybe he really is like a witch, and maybe he is more of a god moving through the Community landscape and adjusting it as he sees fit. Maybe he's the Wanda reality warping power of the Community show. But again, like I said, I don't really even want to know. Let's just be okay that it happened. So here we are again. We're in 2021 now. Still no Community movie announced, and it hurts my feelings. I really want us to have that, and I feel like eventually we will. And the more we wait, the better the more satisfying it's going to be. But whoever needs to hear this, we all want it, and we will definitely support it when it comes out. I've always stated that I feel like it's going to be a Netflix movie. So, if you want to check out some great Community content, you can always go on Instagram, 6 seasons and a Netflix movie. That's me. You can go check me out at Marvel 2K21, the one and only Nerdpool Reborn. Oh, sorry. I have now rebranded Nerdpool Reborn. My fault. Or, of course, on the YouTube page or Spotify or iHeartRadio or on Instagram. Just search Nerdtooine. By the time you hit the T, we should show up right there for your listening pleasure. Go check out also Comics Kings. I actually did a live show with him Crisis on Infinite Rant on Friday, and we talked about a lot of stuff. It wasn't I have to admit, like I said, all my shows are scripted. I have to organize my thoughts. I have 7 pages of notes for this episode, so we just went in and just nerded out for a while, and for about an hour, and it was great. So go check that out. It's on YouTube right now. And again, thank you for coming out. Anyone who is listening to me do this is just, you guys are the greatest, and I really appreciate it. Send me a shout out if you'd like. Tell your friends, tell your family, because I'm not going anywhere. And again, thank you, and just make sure to be safe, and I will see you next week. This is Nerdpool Prime, signing off.